Breath of the Wild is seen as one of the best Zelda games in years, and rightfully so. But people also had one criticism: the story. A lot of fans wanted more when it came to this, and the new DLC has a bunch of new cutscenes and story elements. But did it really fix this problem? Well, let's find out. At the start of the game, Link is suddenly awakened from his 100-year sleep inside the Shrine of Resurrection and learns a being called Calamity Ganon had appeared 100 years earlier and destroyed much of Hyrule before being sealed in Hyrule Castle. Although Ganon was trapped, his power continues to grow, and Link must defeat him before he breaks free and destroys the rest of Hyrule. He must do this by unlocking memories of his past, which are revealed over time. As he regains his memories, Link frees the spirits of the champions and reclaims the power of the divine beasts. He then proceeds to defeat Calamity Ganon, freeing Zelda from the depths of Hyrule Castle and saving the world from immediate destruction. Along the way, you learn about the champions, divine beasts, Sheikah technology, what happened in the past, and how Zelda is doing. However, a lot of the story elements of the game are a bit hidden, and that's where the criticism comes from. Some interesting details and info can only be found by doing extra side quests and tracking down diaries, so you need to look for it essentially. The reason why it's constructed like this is because of the open world aspect the game now has. You can go to the final boss straight away even. In the older Zeldas, you usually followed a certain path, and in between the main quest, there were some side quests here and there. Helping out the people in the world was an option, but if you wanted to beat the game, you had to follow the story and go through it all. You can't skip it. So because of that, Nintendo could craft the story quite easily because they decided what happened and when. For example, Ocarina of Time. That game had a set path and not a lot of side quests or other things to do besides the main objective. However, Breath of the Wild doesn't work that way. The story of this open world game is non-linear, offering different ways to be played. The Divine Beast may be reclaimed in order or not at all. The only requirement to beat the game is to defeat Calamity Ganon, no matter the chosen way. So if you want story, you have to find it and put time in it, otherwise it's not there. You can go to the final boss straight away, which already says enough. However, still, if you found all the story bits and pieces in the world, there were still a ton of questions left, and you didn't really know a lot about the characters. This is most likely because of the open world aspect. It's not made for storytelling. A good example of this is Skyward Sword. That game has a lot of problems, but its story has to be one of the best in the entire series. And it's very linear, which certainly helps with that. But the new DLC in Breath of the Wild tried to fix the story issue with a more set path and story that you had to follow. However, did it succeed? Well, let's first take a quick look at what the DLC is about. The Champion's Ballad introduces a new main quest, as well as several side quests to obtain new items. Link gets new challenges and goes all over the world to fulfill these. And story-wise, it focuses a lot on the champions and Zelda. Link encounters Cass during this quest as well, who sings for him verses of his master's unfinished song about the champions of Hyrule. You also have to go through certain shrines at some point, and here you will receive an emblem specific to a divine beast. After obtaining 3 of each, he's able to enter the realm of memories and battle once again against the blight afflicting the beast. After besting the monster, Link experiences a vision of each champion's memory of the moment when Zelda requested them to pilot a divine beast. Clearly they're focusing on the events of the past and explaining this to the fans in more detail, and also to do some character building when it comes to the individual champions. In the main game, we get to see a lot of flashbacks with the heroes in them and their divine beasts. However, there is still no connection between you and them. There isn't enough for you to really get to know them, since a lot of that time was spent on Zelda, since she was also an important character. And if you look at all the cutscenes of the new DLC, you can actually start to understand what kind of personality each character has. Revali is a try-hard, arrogant person who wants to be number one. But still, he is very lovable, just hard to reach and bond with. Daruk is the big strong warrior that looks tough, but is actually as soft as the inside of a Milky Way and is also very brotherly. Mipha has a more caring and calm personality. She rather stays silent and wait for the right moment to give a good, well thought out answer. And then we have Urbossa, the strong, independent woman type, who can also be very caring and tactical. All of them have a set personality in these cutscenes, which helps with understanding their character more. So when it comes to bonding with these characters, the DLC is very successful. And there were even some nice moments with Zelda. Especially the group photo at the end is a good way of ending the DLC. It's quite satisfying, to be honest. However, there were also some problems, of course. A lot of people said that Link felt a bit like a lifeless and useless character since everyone talks, except him. This is still the case since he says nothing and doesn't develop character in any way really, which is understandable since doing this without speech is a bit tough. Besides that, they always wanted Link to be some sort of silent protagonist, which he has always been really. However, voiceovers and cutscenes are new in this Zelda, which makes this role stand out even more. However, he has always been this way, so changing this wouldn't really solve it. But they could have gave him more facial expressions to at least show some emotion. In multiple cutscenes, he just stands there doing nothing really. Now, a lot of people also had a problem with Zelda. She was too over-emotional, and luckily enough, this was solved in my opinion. We get to see some interesting scenes where Zelda shows all of her character, and even one with Urbossa about her mother. She's overall happier, which is logical on the other hand since the pressure from her father to unlock her power isn't really there to create stress. So we get to see another side of her, which is actually a good thing. In some ways the DLC improves, however in others it doesn't. Now the time period the game is set in was also a bit of a disappointment for a lot of people. Before its release, it looked like it was set after you defeated Calamity Ganon, and everyone was prepared for that. And when that doesn't happen, people will be disappointed, which was the case for some. Not a lot Nintendo could do about this now. Now, did the DLC fix the story somewhat? The gameplay is great, but in the main game there wasn't enough for most people. Personally, I would say yes. We finally have a good understanding of the champions and Zelda. Besides that, the ending of the DLC is really good. It's quite a heartwarming moment, and you even get the picture. If you look at the story as a whole, it's actually quite good for an open world game where there are a lot of things that can distract you from it. Overall, I'm quite happy with it. Thank you for watching, you lovely human. I hope you have a great Christmas. Now go eat delicious food and get presents or eat chocolate. I don't know, Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah for any Jews out there. Whoa, or any other, I don't know, man. I mean, there are so many people around the world. Just have a good time.